Hi guys, how you doing? This is the Redstone Ninja here, and today I've got another Redstone tutorial episode for you. So, without further ado, let's crack straight on. So, in this episode, I hope to get some basic logic gates done. Because, well, in the past few episodes, what we've been doing? Well, first of all, we looked at the basics of Redstone, and basically what you can and can't do with Redstone, and how Redstone works generally. Then we looked at pulses and T flip-flops, and them are quite useful because it means that you can take, basically, if you remember from, I think it was just last episode in fact, if you press this button, then what it's going to do is going to activate the T flip-flop. The T flip-flop is going to switch from being in one state to another, and that allows you to get a constant output that's constantly on, you know, like as if a lever would be, like that, from a button, which is quite useful. And then you press it again and it turns off. The redstone will turn off. It's like a switch for a button. It's weird. But in today's episode, I'd like to get some what do you call logic gates. I'd like to get some logic gates done. First of all, we have the NOT gate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the NOT gate. Now, it may take you a while. It took me years to get my head around this one, but basically we are strongly powering the block, which is of course turning off the redstone torch, because that's how redstone torches work. If you power the block they are attached to, then it turns them off. For instance, if I were to place this torch here, although it is next to a strongly powered block, it is not attached to the strongly powered block, it's attached to the block underneath. If I were to strongly power the block underneath like that, that would work. Yep, just that's how you do it that way. But you have to strongly power the block that the redstone torch is attached to, which means that any of the sides of this will be powered. Like that there. All of them are going to be turned off, and all of these are individual NOT gates, and it's called a NOT gate because if we just take an output like this, then the output is always not the input. If I turn this on, if I turn this off, that's going to turn on. If I turn it on, it turns off. A better example is with a button. When the button's off, this is on. When the button is on, it turns off until the button turns back off again and this turns on. So it's exactly the opposite. It's a NOT gate. And secondly, we have the AND gate. Now the AND gate is super useful because what it allows us to do is compare two or more signals. And what I mean by that is that the output is true when input A and input B are true. Now that may sound like a load of gibberish, but basically output A, the only output there is only going to turn on when both of these are on. If I turn one of them on, it's still off. If I turn the other on, it's still off. If I turn both on, and it turns on just like that. Now, you might think this is fairly simple, but I think I'll go over how exactly this works. You see, if I turn both of these off, you see that these two redstone torches are on. Now, if any of these redstone torches are on, then this redstone dust will be on. If we turn this one off, this one's still on. If we turn this one off, this one's still on. Only when both of them have been turned on and both the torches are off will this redstone dust turn off, which allows this redstone torch to turn on. And there you have it, really. That's pretty much it. Of course, you've also got the OR gate. I didn't think it was really worth mentioning, but I guess I will. The OR gate. Should I even mention it? It really isn't worth mentioning. Okay, I'll mention it. The OR gate looks something like this. And of course, all of these gates have much larger counterparts that are a lot larger but do the same job. This is a fairly large version of basically that. This is an OR gate, but I just wanted to put this here to make this a bit more simple. If I put these levers like this, then this is also an OR gate. The redstone in the middle is unneeded, but it's just to make it a bit clearer for you. If I turn any of these inputs on, the output is going to be on. Of course, I shouldn't really have put a redstone torch there. There we go, that's better. The output, which is this redstone lamp, is on when any of the inputs are on, or more than one. Now that's obviously got a problem, because for instance, what if we have, I don't know, you know those lights that you have over your staircases? Well, if you had this in your house, would it be much use? Right, you got your downstairs switch here, the light turns on, you go upstairs, you try to switch it off, and it doesn't work. Let me introduce you to the XOR gate. This is the XOR gate in pretty much its simplest form. This is as small as you can get this thing. Yeah, it's a bit complicated. Actually, I'm not sure I need that block there. Or that one. I may have just broken it, I don't know. I don't think them are needed, no, not at all. But basically, if I turn this one on, it's going to turn on the output. If I turn the other one on, it's going to turn it off. Then if I turn one of these off, it's going to turn it on. Turn another one off, it turns it off. Basically, what this is a gate for, it's testing for both of them being on. It's basically, it's really hard to explain. How is the best way to explain this? Let me think. If the inputs are the same, now at the moment the inputs are the same, both of them are on. This one's on, this one's on. Input A equals 1, input B equals 1. That means that final output is going to be off. If I change them both to 0, turn them both off, it's going to also be off. If they are different from each other, if this one's 0 and this one's 1, like that, then it's going to turn on. If this one's 1 and that one's 0, they'll flip it the other way around, it's also going to turn on. And what that means is that no matter in what order you could possibly think of to turn these on and off, it's always going to turn the final outputs on and off. And that's pretty cool, because that means that you've now got a switch that toggles state from 2 different switches. I mean, that's pretty cool. So let's just take a quick look how you build this. It's pretty simple. I'm not sure it's that simple, but basically you just get a block and you place your 3 slabs around it like that. You place one on top, delete that other one, you're not going to need that. Place 3 redstone on there, 2 blocks above those 2 redstone blocks, and then this bit is your inputs. These 2 are your inputs. Of course, I put levers here, but of course I could do it in any possible way I could possibly think of to input a redstone signal into these inputs. I could do it like that, I could do it with a button, I could do it with a torch, I could do it with anything I could possibly think of, but I'm just going to leave it with a lever to keep things simple. So there you go, there's your inputs. Next of all, you want to be getting to this side. You want to place redstone on top of here, 2 blocks down there, a redstone torch on both of those blocks, redstone torch here, redstone, redstone, and final outputs. Of course, again, this can go to anything you want it to. In fact, technically speaking, you don't even need that one there, because just suppose you could put your output there, that would work. I mean, the redstone's going to power the block underneath it, which is going to power the redstone lamp. That would work, but it's kind of useless. I mean, it'd be a bit more versatile to have at least one piece of redstone in front of it, so I'm going to leave it like that, and there is your XOR gate. And it's really that simple. And now, like I said already, this is now a switch that can be controlled from 2 levers. No matter which one you switch, it's going to update. It's really hard to explain this, but it's a pretty complicated gate. I think you best rewind the video if you didn't quite get it the first time, because I cannot explain this more than once. Basically, you can switch any of them and it's going to turn your output on and off, and that's all you need to know, really. Now, last time I did actually go over the T flip-flop, but it's fairly essential that you know how this works. So I think I'm just going to go over it again, because last time I'm not sure I explained it that well. So if I just get a sticky piston, all this good stuff, I think that's right. Yep, there we go. Whoops, not like that, there we go. So now we have a T flip-flop any second now. Come on, T flip-flop, flip and flop. Block of redstone, there is our T flip-flop. There we go, there's your output right there. I'm just going to put a redstone lamp there perhaps. Yep, that'll do. So now if I press the button, you'll see the redstone block is spat out. It's going to power the redstone, and obviously the redstone lamp was optional. I didn't need that there, but there you go. It's powering the redstone. If I flick it again, it's going to change state again, and yeah, only took about 2 seconds, but I thought I'd mention it because, you know, it's fairly essential, these things. Because now what we have is we are turning a pulse into a, what would you call it? Full signal, completely on signal. You know what I mean? Basically a signal that stays on. We're changing the on-off pulse of the button. If we just put 2 redstone lamps here, just to demonstrate what I'm trying to get across. This is the pulse one. This is the T flip-flop one. You can see this one stays on. This one turns off. If we press it again, this one turns on, then off. This one just stays off. Yeah, I think you can get what I'm trying to say here. But let's move on to the next thing, because, well, we don't want to be looking at this for much longer because, well, we've already done it. The next thing we need to know is this little doohickey, which is, in fact, the RS Nor Latch. Now, this thing's pretty cool. If you can just see how to build this, it's pretty simple. We just have 2 blocks diagonal from each other, 2 torches, and then we connect the 2 torches up to each other using redstone. Now this forms an infinite loop of logic that says, this torch is saying, am I being powered? No, yes, no, I'm not being powered, so I'm going to power the torch that's powering me. Now as soon as you turn off this torch, it's going to depower this torch, it's going to turn it off, which is going to turn this one on, and this one basically locks it into place. So when the button turns off, this one is going to stay off because it's turned off, which has turned this one on, which means that not only the button, but this torch is also powering this. And then if we come over to this side and do the same thing again, it locks back into another position. Now what we have here is not a T flip-flop. Remember that, this is not a T flip-flop because this has 2 inputs. The T flip-flop had 1 input. This is an RS Nor Latch. That stands for Reset Set Nor Latch. You can see it flips state just like the T flip-flop, but with this one you cannot change it back from this side. It's basically a one-use thing because you can't use it again unless you have this other input being true. So basically 1 input can only be activated once until the second input has been activated, and then you're free to press the first one again. But of course when the first one's free, the second one is not free to be pressed. Only one can be possible to be pushed at the same time. You can see this isn't doing nothing because this redstone torch is already off and this redstone is already on, so it can't really make a difference there. And that's it. You don't have to hear anything more from me about redstone because I'm done for the day. Yep, that's the episode over. Next episode we'll take a look into clocks and exactly how they work and what they're used for exactly. Well, you may have seen exactly what they're used for in perhaps the map making series, where we used it to constantly run a command block. I can't really remember. I'm sure I've used clocks somewhere else, but say you're just watching this series and no other series for some reason, then first of all, why don't you go check out my other series, and second of all, if you're one of those people, then next episode you are in fact going to be learning for the first time what clocks are actually for. But until then, if you did like this video, then do be sure to leave a like. If you have any suggestions for my ever-going redstone world, for my other series, if you are one of those people who do watch my other series, then yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on here so far, and if you got any suggestions for any more stuff to add to this redstone world, then do post your comment in the suggestion, post your suggestion in the comment section below, and if you really want to, then subscribe. But apart from that, this has been the Redstone Ninja, and my work is done here.